radiant beings, it's me, the Iridescent goddess Faith, and I'm here today with a Tarot Tuesday. Yay! Now I wish I could say that this is the first Tarot Tuesday or the first Memory cards this year, but unfortunately I can't. So I can't say this is the first time I've read cards this year, but I can say this is the first time that we're going to have it on my channel. So that is something to be incredibly excited about because I love reading cards. I hear that I'm pretty good at it. You guys be the judge. So I'm going to pull a couple of readings from my own book, and you guys get to decide, if you like it, if you don't like it, leave some comments below and tell me what I should do, what I shouldn't do, what you would like to see more of. But yeah, so this is going to be our first Tarot Tuesday. And before we do that, before we get into reading any cards, let's actually burn some sage to just open up the space, because the space feels pretty cleansed and stuff. We have some candles, we got some music going. I was listening to Audible this morning, which, is kind of nice instead of listening to music or watching the news. It's just nice to have something different, a different option. But let's burn some sage. And this is one of my offering bowls. And this sage that I'm burning now, infused with amethyst and roses. It's Geneva sage, so it's for peace, promoting peace. But just like a rose with peace, you can't have the petals without the thorns. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area or in a place where you can burn sage. Alright, you guys are going to quickly learn the format on how I do my readings. And it's actually very simple. So what I do first, I like to do my affirmations first. So let's do our affirmations first, okay? I have all my decks out, but I usually use 2 decks. So I'm going to use the decks I usually use, but I'm going to show you my affirmation decks first. These are the decks I like to do my affirmations with. It's usually just these 3. Each one's a little bit different, and they're all very eclectic. You'll see. Alright. We have to shuffle each deck first, every time. Okay, so now before we get reading, I know it says that it's of a certain brand, but it's not. And I've emptied out this bottle and I've replaced it with, essential oils, Florida water, other sacred waters, like moon charged water as well, that's been purified. So it's not as aggressive as the store-bought fragrances, but I don't want to buy another bottle, and I like the color of this one, so it's like another layer of sage, but in a mist. Oh, it smells so beautiful. This one's lavender based, and it has also clary sage in it, so it's very eye-opening and relaxing at the same time, so there's no pressure. This one, also not the brand, just the bottle, is a mint one that I use mostly to get pests away, because pests do not like the smell of mint, like spiders and such. They don't like the smell of mint, and they don't like the smell of bergamot and citronella, but especially mint is great for spiders. So if you're terrified of spiders like I am, yeah, do that. Do that. mint everywhere. Like, honestly, I have sachets of it, like, all over the place because I don't do bugs. I don't do bugs. So, let's get into this reading. First, we have Improve. This is my Improve card from the Oracle of Oddities deck, 3rd edition. And this really means that you're kind of, split on your head about a decision possibly, but you're trying to make the steps to improve upon your own habits or just in general. You've accepted improvement, which means that you've accepted the ability to change. When I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. And when I accept love as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. I think that's a beautiful affirmation to hold dear to your heart, that you will always be guided back to the light if you always believe in the notion of love, be it self-love, be it family love, platonic love, romantic love, whatever it is that gets you through the day. Love will help you remember your sense of self and that you are love. So, this card was from the Universe Has Got Your Back deck. And I love that deck because it tells you things that you're just like, yeah, I need to just be reminded the universe has my back. Things aren't, happening to me. They're just happening, A lot of times they're just happening. So the next two actually are from the Illuminated Tarot. And they're actually like a playing card set. So I really like to show these off because they're so colorful. I love this deck so much. I'm such a weirdo for tarot decks. The back is very neutral, but the display is very vibrant, and the design is very minimalistic, but also geometrically sound and colorful and vibrant at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. I love it. It's beautiful. So what we got today are like two of my luckiest numbers, 3 and 7. And a lot of people get these as their lucky numbers as well. So we have actually 3 of diamonds reversed. The 3 of diamonds often means a successful collaboration, successful handyman, admiration in work. But reverse can mean the opposite effect of these. It could mean a lack of happiness or a lack of coming together, a lack of spirit of unity, to be honest. Well, the 7 of diamonds is more vibrant in another way, as is literally represented here in this deck as the sun. It shows a spirit of hopefulness and radiant light and illumination, but it shows the spirit of healing. So this affirmation, these two coming out together, shows that, yeah, things might not always come together the way you want them to, but there might be a method. Like, you might be having to go through certain things to learn a lesson, which sucks. But that's, reality, so. Alright, so now it's time to do my tarot reading. And so I really want to keep this as unedited as possible because I like to keep my readings very real and very basic. So let's get into the tarot readings. I just need to take a deep breath really quick, get all my stuff together. And I'm only going to use 2 decks. Today. And I have like a variety of decks, but I'm not doing all that today. Like, my energy just isn't there to do a lot of reading. In more than, in 3 decks or something like that. Like, I was gonna do, actually I'll do like a dream one because I've been having a lot of dreams. So actually I'll do 3 decks that I'll show you. But let me show you all my decks. And so, I'm going through a variety of them as obviously we speak. But, I have I have so many decks that it's actually kind of ridiculous, but you know. I have a bunch of different spreads. I have this really great book that I've written down, I made myself, and I'm only going to show you a couple pages because it's very private, but at the same time, these are pages that I don't mind sharing. Um, I just write down things with intuition, and these are some of the spreads that I'm going to do and that you could use on your own if you like them. As well, but these are the ones that I like to use. I do other spreads by intuition based on person to person often, like if they really need one, but these are the spreads that I often go to in my mind. Okay. So this is the card that I'm going to pull for just all of our dream state, the conscious dream state of everybody right now. It's the Moth deck. And the card we got is number 8, my other lucky number. And this one is really based off of intuition. I think this is about us really taking a time to rest, taking a time for self-care, taking a time to breathe, taking a time for, honestly, to make a full revolution all the way around into what makes us ourselves, what changes us, how we cope with it, how we don't cope with it, how we react otherwise, just all through all phases of ourselves, acknowledging the light and the darkness within ourselves, but being at peace and at rest with ourselves. I had a really freaky dream the other night, and yeah, we just have to be at peace with a lot of the decisions that we make. We have to be at peace with the people that we choose to deal with. We have to be at peace with who they are. We have to be at peace with the fact that people aren't always going to agree with each other. It's just okay. You don't always have to agree with the people that you're around, but you always have to respect other people. And at the same time, while you might not agree with people, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't feel the opportunity, the freedom, the liberty to speak your own truth. Just a word of wisdom. Okay, so we have number 8 as well. I'm liking these numbers, guys. I really am. Alright, so now I'm going to use my white deck. And this is the deck that I crowned myself. Like a little child, like a little baby child. And for this one, I'm just going to pull this one as just the actual, not dream state consciousness, but the actual, not the subconscious, but the actual consciousness of the humanity. Just, that's what I do. And I've been getting a lot of cups. And then, of course, what do I get? Of course, number 8 once more. So I get the 8 of cups. And the 8 of cups to me is honestly, like, it's all about emotion. Like, I've been just feeling like such like a heart chakra person right now. But this feels like something's ending, something's leaving, like a loss. Like something, I just felt my heartstrings being pulled on, you know, something's gonna tug on our heartstrings. We're about to lose something, or we feel a sense of losing something. I think a lot of people can attest to that right now, be it financially, emotionally, just politically, just any kind of freaking way you want to spin that shit. People feel like there's something that's being honestly lost or left behind that they cannot regain. So we're honestly grasping at straws, and we don't understand that when we grasp at something, anything, be it an idea or anything living, when we grasp at something, we usually suffocate it. We usually corrupt it or pervert the image of what it's supposed to be, or just choke the life out of it, making it not what we love anymore. So we have to honestly let go and surrender. That's the only way to release that negative feeling of expectation and the fear of abandonment, which is something that a lot of us deal with when it comes to people or something ending. We have a fear that now I'm abandoned, and we have a lack of loss of sense of self because we have such a fear and attachment to that person being there, and them being there being our sense of identity, which is not the truth. Our sense of identity has to be contained and developed within ourselves in order for us to have empathy for others, but more importantly, for us to create sound and safe boundaries for ourselves. So, with that being said, when departures and leavings happen, sometimes it might be a sense of ego death and you having to leave a piece of yourself behind in order for you to become the person that you're meant to be. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And it's all okay, no matter what it is. So now I'm going to use the Ancestor deck. And this is what I've been doing a lot recently. So the spread that I'm going to do is the Empathetic spread. And a couple of cards just turned themselves over. But I haven't used this deck in a while. So I can't really trust anything that this deck says sometimes. Like, not that it's not trustworthy, it's just that it's very accurate. So I have to be very specific about what I'm asking. Like, a lot of energy can come up just because I have a lot of energy around me, so to speak. But if I'm not asking anything, it's just going to throw out images and pictures and stuff that I might not understand and might cloud my judgment. So let's not play with that. This deck don't play. It doesn't play. The Afro-Brazilian Tarot, and it's very accurate. So it's very connected to the Orisha. It's connected to Yoruba culture. It's connected to people who might do Santeria, people who might do voodoo, hoodoo, whatever you call yourself, whatever you do. If you are of the diaspora, you might want to consider getting this deck, because I find that it transcends a lot of different barriers with people, because spirit doesn't know race, spirit doesn't know language, spirit doesn't know time or presence or anything. Spirit just knows energy. Spirit just knows energy. It doesn't know any of the bullshit labels that we assign to ourselves. So this deck is very truthful in what we ask of it, and not just truthful when we ask a question, but it's truthful in seeing the person for who they are. So that's why I like using this deck for the overall readings for everybody. Just so you know, if you have any questions. I'm a weirdo, just please. I'm trying to rally myself and give me a little bit more energy because I feel so chill with this crown on. Like, I just feel like, whew, like I could just relax, you know? But I'm trying to have a little bit more gusto at the moment, and my cards keep sliding all over the place. Purpose Tarot Tuesday. This is pretty much, this is how it usually goes, guys. This is usually how it goes, guys. I get a little weird. You guys get a little concerned. I explain myself away. It's all good. So, we're going to do the empathetic spread. Okay, so right now, our state of being, yikers, is the Ten of Swords. Oh, man. Anybody that knows me knows that I hate the sword suit. It's not that it's a bad suit or anything. It's just that it comes with a lot of personal work that people don't want to confront. Or things that, like grief, affliction, sorrow, suffering, and despair. Like, who wants to deal with that? I don't want to deal with that. Like, let me even look at my book for the swords. Like, I'm telling you, Ten of Swords is just like, man, just endings. Why bother? Like, it's hurting. It's a deep hurt that comes along with this card. So a lot of us are in a state of endings. But when something ends, a lot of us can't accept because we're so caught up in our feelings. When something ends, we are at the beginning of something new. Okay? It's a blessing. Accept it as a blessing. Accept it as a blessing that it is. Okay? It sucks that something has to end, but yes, guess what? It's a blessing because something is about to start. And you're on the verge of a baby. You're on the verge of you're on the cutting edge floor. Alright? So you better take advantage of it. Endings suck, but beginnings are bomb. So, rock with that. Trying to rub myself up, I really am. Okay, so how are we going to raise our vibrational energy? Or, no, not raise it, but what's more likely affecting the fact that we're trying to raise our vibrational energy? Is this guy. This guy over here. We got the Hangman, but it's the Hangman in reverse. We got this guy. It's the Hangman. Let me see if you can see it. It's the Hangman, but the Hangman in reverse. Represents accountability, it represents certainty, it represents permanent positions when it's in a reversed state like this. So it means that you're not uncertain. You know exactly what it is that you're doing or what it is that you're getting into. And for some reason, all of us are choosing to turn a blind eye. How is that working? Not very well, huh? Didn't think so. Yeah. No, on top of you. And this is why I pulled it, because I had a feeling that this energy might work this way. It is the Three of Chalices. So, on top of you is agreement, success, pregnancy, happiness, cheerfulness, and celebration. Look at that. Look at all them chalices. Look at all them chalices. Look at all them chalices. Like, you pimping. Like, you big pimping, right? You pimping. You pimping hard with your chalices. Look at that. We're getting a lot of threes again. Here's number 3 again, guys. Number 3 one more time. One more time. One more time. And don't forget, 10 adds up from 3 and 7. So, I'm just saying these numbers aren't coming out of nowhere. But it means agreement, success, pregnancy, cheerfulness, and celebration. So, celebration can mean a lot of things. Cheerfulness can mean a lot of things. A lot of these things can be convoluted and just short-lived, emotions. But at the same time, they are things that we should be grateful for. Because happiness is short-lived. It's honestly the weather, just as sadness is the weather. So when we get these seasons or these moments or these just spurts, these showerings of happiness, we should be so grateful for them, honestly, when they're going to come our way, especially if we know they're coming our way. So we know that we're going to be blessed, but at the same time, like, Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know we're going through it right now. We are really going through it emotionally, and when you know you're going to be happy, it's kind of like, that's great, but I'm miserable right now. How does that help me if I know I'm going to be happy if I'm unhappy where I'm sitting? So just keep things in perspective. It's serious, but it's not like that fucking serious, you know? So, how to protect yourself? We have, ain't he hot? Yes, Daddy. Isn't he beautiful? Yes, Daddy. Isn't he powerful and beautiful? Yes, slay, Daddy, slay. Like, he's like, I'm commanding everything in this area right now. Like, you can't even touch me. Like, who do you think you are? So we got the King of Pentacles right here. Okay, baby. The King of Pentacles is all about mastering what is yours. It's all about taking what is yours. It's all about getting what is yours, to be honest with you. It's not just about, you know, beauty or inheritance. It's about literally savings and result. So it's about cause and effect. It's about having mastered something and then getting the result of what you've mastered. So just sit back and, like, that's how you're going to protect yourself. Like I said, keeping yourself in reality. Keeping yourself in reality. Keeping yourself in reality. And I'm like talking to myself right now. That's why I keep saying it so much. I'm trying to keep myself in reality. Now, this is going to be how you're going to ground yourself. And, oh, Jesus Christ, it's another sword. I hate this sword so much. I'm such a baby. Oh, my God. Okay, so. I don't even want to talk about it. It's a 7 of Swords, guys. And it's like a 7. I got so excited, right? And then I was like, yay! And then I was like, it's still the sword suit, Faith. And literally right here it says bad faith. And I'm like, I know, bad faith. Like, bad faith. I know, bad faith. Maybe it's saying I could be shadow faith. Maybe that's how I ground myself. I could be, hey boys, how you doing? Like little, I heard you like a little shoulder and a wrist action, huh? Because this is what we have to hide from you guys. So, here's a little shoulder and my wrist. Ooh, wait a minute. Here's some ankle. Ow, ow, ow! Yeah, no. I just hate the sword suit so much. Jeez Louise. Okay, so it really does mean trickery, deceit, astuteness, and hope. So hope, Jesus Christ. And this is why my mom doesn't have a child or a daughter named Hope. This is why my sister's name is Grace and I'm Faith. We don't have a Hope up in the house because this is why. Hope can be very misleading. You need hope to have faith, yes. Because, like, you can't, like, just be out here, like, yeah, I got faith, but, like, I don't, like, hope for anything good to happen. Like, I have faith that shit, miracles exist, but, like, yeah, I mean, I ain't hoping for shit to go right. No, you need to actually want things to go right. You have to hope, you have to hope, you have to hope to have that faith, right? So, the reason why hope can be misleading is because when you have hope, it can put faith in bad things, into bad people, into bad places, causing a lot of bad shit to go down. So, that's why hope can be very misleading. It can lead to trickery. It can lead to you being deceived. You have to be very careful. That's how you keep yourself grounded. Watch the company that you keep. It's a reflection of who you are. Yeah. Be careful with that right there. And then how to raise your vibrational energy. We have, right here we have the 9 of Pentacles reversed. And this on its head really does mean comfort and success. Now, comfort and success is great, but when you don't have that shit, you're like, wow. That's how you're going to have to raise your vibrational energy. Realize that you're not always going to have that. That you have to work for that. You have to fight for that. That's not always going to be something that you're entitled to. That's something that you have to earn. It's like people feel like they think that trust is something that is just given to them, that they are entitled to. Or forgiveness is something that they're entitled to because they've apologized. Or jobs are entitled to them because of, you know, whatever level of privilege that they were born into. We have no rights to anything. And I've even been taught that when it comes to even creative integrity, we often don't even have rights to our own ideas. Because a lot of times people have already done this before. Someone's already said it before. We have been so far along in human history. thoughts are new, and of course there are new ages of enlightenment, but you're not the first person to ever exist or have the feelings that you're going through or go through what you're going through. Someone's probably had this thought, this notion, this idea before, and whether or not they had the means or the platforms to express that, now that's something different. So when we have something like comfort and success turned on its head, we're like, well, like the same thing with all the other cards. Like, why even bother, right? Why even bother? Why would I even try to go for the gusto if I know that result isn't going to come? If I know alliance is going to be challenged? If I know that, well, that means that you're just going to have to reassess where you are. Reassess, regroup. Like I said, a lot of these cards are showing, yes, that you are going through an ending, but it shows that you have the fortitude to get through this ending. It shows that you have the radiance to get through this ending. It shows that you have the love to get through this ending. Never forget that. It's usually about generosity, about getting gifts, about receiving, about getting knowledge, about having help and support coming from around you, right? Usually this is the homeboy, but when it's reversed, it could be a thrifty, shifty motherfucker. Now, that might be you. You could be the person who might be really, like, stingy. You might be hoarding your energy. You might be hoarding money. You might be just selfish. Like, literally being selfish sometimes can go, like, the extra mile. Like, there's a fine line inside your self-care when you do have to be kind of selfish and be like, hey, yo, like, no, I need time for me and I have to say no for you even if you do need help, homie, but, like, I need time for me right now. There's a real fine line between that and being a selfish person. A selfish person would do that, but then also be constantly taking whatever they can get. So you have to really take in mind who you are. Am I a person who's, getting things, receiving blessings from the universe? But am I putting out the same energy that I'm getting out from the universe? Like, I might be getting good things, but am I putting just positivity back there? Or am I just a taker of the positivity? Because that's really not, contributing. That's being a succubus. And it might not be the same as someone who's putting out negative energy and putting out someone with bad vibes. But if you're not putting anything good into the atmosphere, I mean, you might as well just be, putting out negative vibes because you're just a black hole and people can't see you until they're at the event horizon and it's too late and they're sucked into whatever your bullshit is. You sometimes can do that even to yourself. Sometimes we don't realize that we have so many blessings right in front of us. We don't realize that we have so much support around us and that we will keep ourselves away from other people. We'll stop ourselves from having openness of open heart. We'll stop ourselves from having openness and open communication. We'll stop ourselves from trusting our intuition and trusting our own passions. So it keeps us from being generous with who we are in our own nature. It stops us from living out our full potential, our purpose. Our soul's purpose. It stops us from having our soul's purpose, which is something that we all truly are searching for and desire. Now, if you're stopping your soul from actually growing and doing this development, you're not actually reaching enlightenment. You're not doing the work that you're searching for in your crown space, whether it be you go to church, whether it be you meditate, whatever it is. If you go to temple, mosque, if you are going to the beach, if you're going out into nature, if you're going anywhere where you're trying to find that connectivity to a higher power, if you're not giving yourself the opportunity to be generous and open with yourself and honest with yourself, you are not going to be able to do with other people. It's just like not going to be even something that you can fathom. You're going to be very hard and callous towards other people, and you might not even realize that you're doing it. This is something that I recently had to address in myself, and I don't like it. I don't like having to be open. I don't like having to be vulnerable. I don't like having to share my feelings and talk about shit. Like, why? I'm such a New York broad. Like, I don't do that. Like, for what? Like, so you can know my feelings and use them against me. Like, that's how people think, honestly. And that's how my ego thinks. That's how my ego is thinking. But my higher self knows, like, that's not reality. Like, sometimes shit just fucking happens and no one's doing things to you. It's just that if you might be a stepping stone for them to get to the next place, anybody's going to use any type of energy to do that. It just happens to be you. You're not special. You might think you are in a lot of ways, but you're not. I know, I just hurt a lot of feelings out there. It's okay. I hurt mine every single day. So, I just think that we have to keep in mind that we have to be more generous with ourselves so that we can be generous with other people. It's so hard to have an open heart for yourself. We often have such negative dialogue towards ourselves, so it's hard to develop that positive dialogue towards other people because we're not trained to be like, yo, like, I have a hard time with this, or I have a hard time with that, or because we're trained to be like, you didn't do this, you failed at that. We don't tell ourselves that, hey, good job for this or good job for that, because guess what? We don't hear other people do it. We don't hear, them do it to themselves in their mind. We hear about them complaining about how bad they feel about something that they did. Like, I just got a compliment about something the other day, and the only thing I could think about to say was like, ugh, I looked horrible in the pictures. What? Like, that's the only, I got a compliment, and all I could think was to say, I look like trash in those pictures. I wish no one had taken them. Like, what? Like, no, what you're supposed to be is feel, like, gratitude. Not even just for the sense that someone's acknowledged you or whatever. You're allowed to feel what you want to feel. I did look like trash in those pictures. Like, I can't even lie. But at the same time, my comment should have been, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging my achievements. Thank you for acknowledging my energy. Thank you for acknowledging my presence. Not, I look like shit. Because all that's going to breed is, wow, I don't want to compliment you anymore from another person. And at the same time, in your mind, all of it's going to breed is when other people give you that negative energy back. It's like, this is why I don't do anything. And that's why I don't take pictures. Versus, well, I didn't like the picture that I took, but maybe I should change the color that I wore. Or maybe I should have zhuzhed it up a bit. Or, maybe I should have dressed it down a bit. It doesn't matter what it is. We take critiques so personally because we think they're personal, but they're not, because it's not about you. Even when it's about you, it's not about you. And that's a hard thing to understand. That's like a really hard thing to understand. When it's about you, it's not even about you then. So when our perspective is skewed, when a lot of the cards are reversed, a lot of people be like, what's the difference between having the reverse cards and a card that's flipped upright? When it's upright, it's more straightforward, necessarily. And when it's reversed, it's not that it's not straightforward, it's just that it plays more on the energy of the cards that are around it. So when your perspective is turned upside down, especially when you have a card like with you, actually specifically, it tends to breed a state of resentment towards the self. And we don't allow ourselves the right to feel the way that we feel. We are quicker to apologize to others than we are to apologize to ourselves, which is something that I've never understood. So, with that, you know what comes next. If you like this video, please like right now. Hit me up in the comments below, and also look in the details. Check it out, the description box, because I put a lot of goodies on there for you guys always. And I also want you to give the subscribe button a kiss. And with that, shine from every angle like a diamond. Like me, like you as well.